Hello, welcome back, and it's time for the November TBR, my unrealistic reading goals. And I mean unrealistic. There are so many tomes on this list, and I've heard tome topples happening in November, and I really hope it is because I need its help. But let's talk about real quick what I am reading. I am currently still working on Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. I'm loving it. It's perfect for right now. I'm filming this on October 30th. And this takes place essentially on October 30th, so it's like perfect seasonal read. If you don't know, this is about Yadriel, who just wants to tell his family that not tell him, but show his family that he really is a true Brujo. In this world, there are Brujos and Brujas. Brujas use healing magic, and Brujas use spiritual magic to help basically get spirits back to the afterlife. And so Yadriel's trans, but their family has issues understanding that. And in the process of proving himself to be a Brujo, he summons the wrong spirit. It's been a really great read so far. I'm really loving it. I'm pretty sure I can finish this before the end of October, but if not, it bleeds over into November. The other book I'm reading this October that's for sure bleeding into November is The Shadow Rising, the fourth Wheel of Time book. If you don't know what the Wheel of Time is, it is this mega fantasy epic. It's 14 books and a novella long, and I'm in the fourth one. And in this one, we are following all of our main characters we've had in previous books, and I guess they're trying to figure out their next steps. It's very hard to describe this. It's much like the Stormlight Archives. It's just an epic, epic fantasy. So those are the books that are going to, for sure, bleed over into November to some extent. And now let's get into the rest of my TBR, which is all around me right now. So if you've been here for a while, I'm a huge Sanderson fan, so I'm for sure reading Dawn Shard and Rhythm of War this month. We think Dawn Shard's going to be releasing like the first week of November, and if that's the case, that's when I'm reading it. That's when I'm reading Dawn Shard. And Rhythm of War, of course, comes out November 17th, and I'm so excited. I have the hardback coming in, I have the Kindle on pre-order. I'm obsessed. I don't usually spend money on books, but I spend money on Sanderson books, as you guys can see. I'm a little weird. Now, the rest of my TBR, I always like to have a short story anthology to if I need little bite-sized stories, and I just think reading short stories is fun. So I have How Long Till Black Future Month by N.K. Jemisin. This is my last published novel. I mean, it's a collection of short stories. I still have Emergency Skin, which is, I think, a novelette by her. This is my last one that I have on my shelf. I've read the rest of them, so it's about time. I've had it since the summer, and it's been calling to me recently, so I'm really excited to put this on my TBR. And then I have some sequels, both of which are tomes, which is why, Tome Topple, I need your help. The first one is a priority. This is the next book I read after I finish Wheel of Time, sort of priority, and that is Shorefall by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is the sequel to Foundryside. So this is a world that I don't actually know if it's steampunk or diesel punk or even remotely related to that, but it's kind of Italian inspired. You have a magic system that's very much coding. You write on an object to change its perception of reality. And that's kind of what happens. And this book takes place years after the events of Foundryside, and a lot of my favorite characters were in precarious positions at the end of Foundryside, so I want to see where that goes in Shorefall, although I'm nervous because I know this might have a cliffhanger, and we don't know when the third book's coming out, but it's whatever. I've just decided to reread it. Not reread it. I've just decided that if I have to reread it, I will. And kind of similar for the Greenbone Saga, because I'm going to be reading Jade War, which is the sequel to Jade City, which is, like I said, the Greenbone Saga. You have an island where there's jade, and jade can enhance people's powers, but some people are jade insensitive, so jade does nothing to them, and some people are overly sensitive, so it's like overdosing on a drug almost. And you have a lot of mafia-like things, like very Godfather, and this is the sequel, and it's supposed to be even better than the first book. And unfortunately, Jade Legacy is not coming out till next September, so I'm probably going to end up rereading them both, which is fine. It's why I actually bought them, which is rare for me. I usually only get library books, and I already bought Jade War, and I haven't read it yet. So, but yeah, I'm going to be reading that. Another tome this one, it depends on my mood if I get to it, is Leviathan Wakes, the first book in the Expanse series. I don't know much about what this series is about other than it's a very popular TV show and a very popular sci-fi series that has been staring at me at the bookstore for years. And I unfortunately missed the Shelf Space Book Club, but I would really like to get to this. So, especially since I have less sci-fi than normal on my TBR, I really hope I can make this a priority. But if not, I for sure want to make Binti 2 and 3 a priority. So these are the Binti novels by Nydia Okorafor. I read the first one in the short story back in September, and Binti is a woman on a planet, and they typically don't go off planet to go to school, but she gets into a prestigious school. And so the first book is about her going to that school and the conflicts that arise, and it is it's a lot, and I assume we're going to be exploring the fallout of those events in these next 2 novellas. So I would really like to finish that series up. Also, I think this is also sci-fi, but I honestly don't know what it's about because it's by an author where I don't need to know what the books are about, and this is Wild Seed by Octavia Butler. This is a story that's the next up in the Octavia Butler Slow Read Along that's run by Ninjiri and Musical Tati. I'll have their channels down below. Octavia Butler is an author that blew me away with the book Kindred when I read it a few years ago, and for some reason I haven't picked anything else up yet, and I have this on my Kindle because I bought it on sale, so I would really like to pick this one up. And the last book I will try and get to, although it probably will end up being read earlier in the month just because of how I want to get things on my Kindle and how it's an overdue Kindle library book, and that is Storm of Locusts, the sequel to Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. So it's the second book in the Sixth World series. I really love Rebecca Roanhorse's writing. So Trail of Lightning, like if you like The Witcher, I think you should read Trail of Lightning, because Trail of Lightning is about Maggie, who is a monster hunter, and a monster hunter who doesn't think highly of herself. Like, she struggles with her humanity a little bit, or at least being kind to herself. And she has a companion, Kai, who is not dissimilar to Dandelion in the Witcher series. It's not really like the Witcher series, but if you like monster hunting and monster hunter and companion dynamics, I think it's really fun. But it's based more on the Navajo tribe, because this is a post-apocalyptic book, so it takes place after a almost world-ending climate event. And only certain places near the Rockies, so the Navajo reservation, some of the Mormon regions, I think in Utah, the exact lines are unclear to me, but they make it, but also the powers of the gods and monsters are coming back. And so that's why Maggie is a monster hunter. She has a particular set of skills. And I really liked the first book, and I recently read Black Sun, and I really liked it, so I just want to read more Rebecca Roanhorse. So that's my unrealistic TBR. Actually, I'll add one more thing. The audiobook I'm going to try and prioritize this month is Best Served Cold by Joe Abercrombie. This is the next book I need to read in the First Law world. So I reread the first 3 this year via audiobook, and I really love reading his worlds with the audiobook. I think the narrator really brings the characters to life, and since his characters are so rich, I feel like that's so important. So I'm going to read Best Served Cold, because the whole point of me rereading those books was to continue in the First Law world. So that's it. That's the unrealistic TBR. If there are any of these you feel I should prioritize, feel free to tell me down below. Also, what book you're most looking forward to read. And yeah, other than that, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.